The organization is also facing accusations of knowingly recruiting an 11-year-old Fortnite player and streamer. His real age would violate Twitch's terms of service, which stipulate streamers must be aged over 13. I mean, I hate to say I told you so, but didn't I? There's nothing to talk about with what Twitch did. Twitch is just following federal and state compliance. Twitch is a California-based company. They have to follow California law. They also are a federal company, and they're incorporated in the United States of America, so they have to follow that. They banned H1ghSky's channel because H1ghSky, they had confirmed internally that he was under the age of 13. So that's that. That's all there is to it. That's exactly what they should have done. There's no problem or mistake or issue with that. Nothing will happen to H1ghSky. H1ghSky will have his account reinstated when he is of the age of 13. And he'll go back to being a very successful influencer. He has so much time. And in the meantime, he still has a very successful influencer. I'm not worried about H1ghSky at all. He's not going to jail or anything or whatever, or anything like that. This is a kid who has almost 1 million followers on Instagram, and he's not even 13 yet. So imagine where he's going to be in 10 years, right? I mean, he's going to be totally fine. So H1ghSky I wouldn't worry about. Like, this is just going to be a temporary ban until he gets to the age where he can actually stream. And that's just what Twitch is going to do. No problem there. I mean, that's exactly what should happen. As far as FaZe goes, they have lied to the California Labor Commission. They've lied to the federal government. They've lied to Epic Games. They've lied to Twitch. And they've also lied to you. And you have an officer of the company going out and saying that his employees did shit at business. You have an officer of the company freaking out on Twitter and YouTube about how bad the company was run and fuck contracts and fuck professionalism. You have a leaked contract that is extremely unfair against players, that is extremely leveraged in FaZe's best interest, that is the most unfair contract that I've ever seen in esports. And at this point, you wonder why I say that FaZe has, where is FaZe going to go from here? What are their options? They're either embroiled in so much litigation and so many fines from various different people that want to go after them that if nothing else, want to set a precedent for the rest of esports. If nothing else. I said before that my position is that FaZe as a company will cease to exist as we presently know it. And I base that not off of the lawsuits, which individually can't, I shouldn't say can't, but shouldn't destroy FaZe, but on the basis of the massive violations that this company has done, allegedly, in relationship to the California Labor Code and the Federal Labor Code, wherein it is illegal to employ young people. It's federally illegal to serve alcohol to people that are under the age of 21. And on and on. So there are an enormous amount of violations that come up in the FaZe situation. And I think that a lot of people just fundamentally don't have respect for how serious the government is when it comes to enforcing things that are against its directives. The government will shut down businesses for doing these things, and they're fine doing it. And there's a lot of people that say that FaZe is like too big to fail or whatever, and they just have no idea of how the government works. Like, unless you're a bank, the government will shut you down so fast. And doing things like employing minors is like a classic way to get that done, or to get so many fines or be stuck in litigation for so long that you're just infinitely screwed. Everyone fears the government. I mean, look what happened just a few days ago when the government said, hey, we're going to turn on Facebook and Amazon and Google, right? Where they basically took the FCC and the Department of Justice are going to go after a lot of the major big social media giants. And all of the stocks across the board for those companies dropped like 6%. Because the market understands that when the government comes after you, there's no good news. It's just bad. So the way that a lot of these esports companies have survived and been in violation of so many of these things is they have just been outside of the government's eye. The government doesn't tend to turn its kind of like eye of Sauron on you unless you do something to really, really offend them, such as submit a claim to the California Labor Commission on something like this. So what happens to FaZe? TLDR, right? I mean, number one, I think the most likely thing is that FaZe gets caught up in so much litigation and trouble that they essentially have to stop operating, or operate in a much reduced capacity. And I think this is the most likely thing. The second thing is that FaZe just gets shut down by a combination of California Labor Commission and lawsuits, and can no longer operate at all. The third option is that I guess I have to list it, is that, you know, FaZe gets away with it, settles lawsuits, and a commission is never formed. And I think most likely what will happen is that FaZe will get caught up in so much trouble that they'll just effectively stop operating. And I think they'll most likely be unable to operate in the state of California. And then I think the second most likely thing is that they get shut down. I hope that number 2 happens. But yeah, I think that's like kind of the summary of like the FaZe situation.